Hi, everybody. My name is Evan Radisik. I am the Executive Director of the Cloud Software Association. Thank you for joining us for another SaaS Connect podcast, webinar, conversation, all the things. We're going to have a pretty neat little conversation here with a couple of individuals. They're actually CSA members, and you've seen a couple of them before. We've got Zach, Svendsen, and Simon. I'm going to butcher your last name.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Bouchez. It's good. Don't worry.
I'm gonna let you two guys just do a quick intro on who you are. What your role is, where you are, and then we'll get into partner commissions, among other things. So Zach, why don't you tell us a little bit? Just give us the lowdown of who is Zach?
All right. We're going to get deep right off the bat here, so this is lovely. So hi, guys. My name is Zach Svendsen. I manage all things partners at Tipalti. I'm based in Minnesota, where it's a balmy, well, it's actually 34, which is a lot better than 0 yesterday. And I reside here with my beautiful wife and 3 children, with 1 on the way.
Nice. And you built that partner team pretty much from scratch. How many people are you guys at now?
Yeah, so we started in 19 with 2 people. We'll finish this end of this year at 25, and we'll be up to 64 by the end of next year.
Yeah, so you've got your own partner team, distribution team, partnership team, but you also work with a lot of partnership teams. So there's a lot there to unpack. Simon, you're in Paris, we said before.
Yeah, I am in Paris. 7 p.m. here. I'm by myself in the office. And really glad to be with all of you. Thanks for having me. So I've been in SaaS for more than 10 years as a startup founder and an exec at large software companies. I'm currently the CEO and co-founder of a company called Reveal. So we have a product enabling partnership leaders and partnership managers to account map and to align much better with their ecosystem and partners. And prior to that, I was in HR technology, and I sold my previous company to SAP, where I spent a couple of years in various exec capacity, giving me also a view of partner engagement and partner commissioning from the SAP standpoint as well. So thanks for having me, and pumped about the discussion we're gonna have.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to try to set the tone here a little bit. When we kind of were putting this together, the first thing that came up was, what are some of the conversations happening in the partner community? And one thing that kept resurfacing was commissions, whether it's attribution, tracking, or do we have them? No, do we not have them? 10%, 20%, 50%, It was everybody, we kind of were saying, it's kind of this Pandora's box, where it's just, there's so much uncertainty around it. And everybody just kind of, it's just a best guess for the most part. No matter how large and sophisticated the company looks, you rest assured they're just doing their best guess at what the commission part of their business is. So we want to kind of have a conversation around what you guys think, what your experience is. I know, Zach, you guys are in a unique position because you help with commission payouts. So you work with a lot of partner teams on, that's your commission, great, we're going to logistically make that happen for you so it's easy. So you're in a unique position to kind of comment on some of the experiences and things you've seen. You don't have to give out names, but just see hey, this was kind of cool, this was kind of weird, or blah, blah, blah. But so we'll kind of have a conversation around that, a lot to unpack there, and then we'll kind of transition it into, I don't want to, no spoiler alerts, but we kind of agreed that, you can't just be about the commission, because if it is, it's going to fail. You got to build trust and engagement with your partners beyond a paycheck, right? So that's kind of the list of things. But Zach, to start things off, what's your feeling on? I mean, we need them, right? Of course. So nobody's going to do anything for free. It's either give them a client or you give them a rev share. What's your kind of overall feeling around the commission part?
My feeling is that it's a necessary evil, right? It's important, especially if your competitors in the marketplace are doing the same thing and incentivizing your competition for those customers. So you need to do it. And I think you can structure it in a way where it incentivizes the partner to not only bring you opportunities, but in order to keep those customers too. I mean, I think most people probably see that partner-led opportunities already have a higher close rate, but they also have a longer lifetime value within inside of the organization. So if you can help incentivize those two pieces, that's key. I think what really is the right way to go about it, though, is to incentivize those partners to build a business or a practice on additional work that they can do that's related to what you're providing to the customer, so they can actually make services dollars through their own business as opposed to a commission process. So that's really high level what I feel. I have a lot of other feelings.
Yeah,
but,
no, I think, no, I mean, when I was at Proposify, we worked with a lot of agencies, right? And it was like, you know, the seat was $50 a seat, right? Like it was a low cost point product. It was a volume thing. So, you know, given an agency 20% of a 50 or an average, you know, 10 seat deal, like it's not a lot of money if it's just a commission. And then if that's all it's about, it's 100% gonna fail, and it fail every time. Like they'll bring you 2 customers and then you know, kind of fizzle out. So like what is the objective, right? Like the objective is, you know, is it churn? Is it like reducing churn? Like, is it expansion? Is it like, other than revenue, what are you looking for? Ideal deal size or ideal customer, expand, like stickiness, like what are some of the other metrics you're looking for? And then does commission get you closer to a working relationship with that partner or not? Like, I don't know, like,
yeah.
What can you add to that right off the bat, right? It's going to be something on the engagement piece, or at least like a referral, or at least, you know, here's another partner you can work with, or here's a client that we could use your help with, so they can actually engage with their own services, right?
100%. And I think you nailed the head, or you hit the nail right on the head with figuring out. You have to really figure out what you want the partner to do for you, and then incentivize appropriately. Right. So if it's customer acquisition, you can create your structure of your commissions to really be on closed won logos. Or if you're just looking to build pipeline, it can be have some focus on actual pipeline generation and number of opportunities. Or if it's for lifetime value of the customer, almost build it out into a 3, 5, 10-year plan of continuous incentivization for those partners. And you can make spiffs along the way too. One of the things that we have provisioned with inside of our partner agreement is the ability to spiff our partners and their sales reps at any point in time. It's often overlooked, and there's generally no pushback. We don't always leverage it, but it gives us the ability to say to our partner, hey, if we just opened up in the UK and we're looking to open up in mainland Europe here relatively soon, it gives us the ability to really try to seed that market by offering spiffs to our partners. So there's some interesting things you can do with that, but it boils down to what you're trying to get from the partner.
I mean, have you guys worked, like, what, I don't know, I want to position you so you're not like giving away anything, but like you guys have a whole portfolio of clients and, you know, doing those commission payouts. Is there any sort of system that you saw that worked in combination, like it was a commission, rev share, like anything unique model wise that seemed to have been at least interesting to share?
Yeah, there's a couple really interesting things that I've since stolen or incorporated into our program. And the thing that I really like the most is incentivizing partners to be engaged with you. And so there's 2 pieces of that. One is we structure our commission plan on a 5-year rollout. We start everyone kind of in a gold tier, which means that any customer they bring to us, they automatically get 5 years worth of commission. But there's contingent on them continuously engaging with us and bringing more referrals to us or customers. So it's a less number of actual signed customers, a greater number of referrals. And that keeps a partner engaged into perpetuity because they're receiving revenue into perpetuity as well. So that's one piece of it that I think is important. And the other piece of it is putting in the provisions to give business back to a partner. We do things a little bit differently. We have a heavier implementation. not all partners can do this, but what we can do is give our partners back services work. In our industry, a lot of the partners we deal with are services-based businesses, which is a lot different than a SaaS-based business. And so by giving them actual projects that they can get people off the bench and do work for is really interesting to them too. So those are the two big areas where I've seen the most success.
Yeah, I guess you can have because the thing is that if you're in a luxury in which, like when I was a proposer, it was the same thing. It was like, if it was a proposal or design work you needed done, we'd kind of keep a tally of who needs what, and we'd pass that on to partners. And it wasn't a lot of work, but it was enough to say, look, hey, like we're looking after you, like we are thinking of you. This is going to grow with us, but and I think that did like wonders, right? It was like I never got an email saying, hey, like when is the commission payout? Or when am I getting my, because we're not selling Salesforce. Like you're not selling like $40,000-$50,000 deals. Like I never, ever in 2 years got an email saying, where's my commission payout? It's always been like, are you guys working with any SaaS companies in this industry? Because we're actually doing this type of work. Like they're looking for referral, right?
Yep.
So like, I know, Simon, we were talking about like that engagement piece. Like you can't what's your feeling on crossing the border between like, yes, you're getting a commission, but here's this other thing we're going to do for you. Like, what's your take on that?
I mean, in any business relationship, you need an incentive. It creates structure, it creates balance. So if you have a commission structure with your partner, great. I mean, you absolutely need that structure to go to market and to make sure that there is just this sense of balance. When some a side of the partnership does something for the other, then they have to be compensated, obviously, as you pointed out earlier. But the parallel I would make is with if you take sales commission, like you have your AEs, right? They have a commission structure as well. But of course, it can totally disrupt your sales process if you have the wrong commission structure in place. It can break everything. They can sell the wrong product. They can focus on 1-year contract instead of 2-year contract. So it can really harm your business if you have designed the commission structure poorly. But on the other end, is it because of the commission structure that they're going to be successful? Right? Probably not. It's much more about the enablement, the resources you provide to them, having strong support from pre-sales, from marketing, and so on and so forth. And what applies internally with your direct sales, I think, applies to your partners. So that's why it's important for sure. It's important because it can break everything when it's not done correctly. But is it what's going to make you really successful? Probably not. I don't think that's what's going to move the needle and really change the game for your business and your partner's business as well.
Yeah, I think, Simon, I'll echo that 100%. I think one of the things that I love about Reveal too, and a shameless plug, I guess, for you though, is that it comes really down to collaboration between your partner and yourself, and leveraging the tools to make it easier to collaborate, whether that be leveraging a PRM, or a tool like Reveal, or a number of different platforms out there that really make it easy to enable your partners to make it collaborative as opposed to transactional.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. But the more you can, the more easily you can be, transparent and share information, and you don't always think about how much money you're going to drive from commission and everything. The more impact you can have on your pipeline, because the more coverage you can have on deals, right? So you really want to unleash that and to make sure that it's not just about kind of a partnership team to partnership team, but it becomes really a company to company type of relationship. And that's what ultimately will drive the success of every partnership. So, and I think the commission is really a small part of that process that can mostly break everything, and it's more of a break than a make type of tool.
Yeah, you guys got it. I mean, it's so here's the thing. Like you said, you gotta have it, because you kind of sets the tone on like, hey, we're all looking to make money here. Like we're not just doing this for the good of our heart. Like there's a business relationship here, and it's like great, like 20%, 30%, like you work out what your deal is, and it's the one thing you don't want to spend time on. So I know Zach and we've had this conversation, like and this is like a shameless plug for Tipalti, is like, you guys just take care of the piece that nobody really wants to touch. Like the complexity of like paying out like 300 affiliates that make like between $5 and $50, like that's not where you want to spend your time, like tracking and making sure everybody, when I was doing it, like, it was just like, how do I get rid of this like monthly, afternoon of stuff and focus on what actually adds value, which is like, so now that I know who I'm paying out and who's making money a little bit, who's activated, right? How do I now strategically look at the ones that are either not activated, haven't even brought a deal in, and maybe I can do something strategically to incentivize them to bring me a customer, and why are they not? Or like start looking at like the ones that are making money. It's like, well, like even on the affiliate side, we had a couple of different programs, but it was like on the affiliate side, it was like, well, there's like 5 or 6 that are like really making good money, good referral money, like not amazing, but like enough to be like, why are they so successful, not the other ones? So then you start digging into like, what are they doing that's working? And then, building that relationship is like, hey, how can we throw fire on what you're already doing? And that, like, that's where you want to be spending your time, not like, oh, like clearly they're like, they really like that 20% commission. It's like, it's not about that.
I agree 100%. And thanks for the plug there. And I think one thing about commissions is that partners, you damage the relationship more by not getting commissions right than you do by enhancing the relationship by getting it right. So it's an important function of understanding how you're going to do it and make it operational, as opposed to hand keying data in and trying to send them a check or a PayPal, right? That's a huge pain, and it's a disservice to the partnership program all in all. I think one of the other things that we've learned going back a little bit is when structuring that commission policy, instead of making it be on revenue, you make it on profitability, because that you need a lot more internal buy-in on what that is. There's a number of different ways that you can easily kind of just figure out profitability and give a higher percentage of profitability per customer. That looks a lot better to a partner too, right? If you're going to have a higher percentage, but it's based off of profitability, plus it's easier to sell internally, because you sometimes have customers who aren't that profitable, or certain segments of your customer base that aren't as profitable. So you can tweak it a little bit to make it easier internally and externally.
Interesting. So, okay. So are you saying like have 2 commission structure, like have one for like, hey, here's what you get if you bring in, or even say like, we're not even going to pay you out if you bring in a below 10 seat deal, or whatever that like kind of the entry level is, but maybe I'll give you like a certain commission on that. And then it's like a higher or even reoccurring if it crosses the line of profitability. Like, can you just tell me a little more about what that is? Yeah,
you bet. And it really depends for us and for others that I've seen too. It really depends on how they segment their customers, right? Usually people have an understanding of their customers based off of specific types, whether it be small, medium, large, or it might be regional based, or it might be leveraging a certain type of technology. Each of those, generally, you can put a mark of level of profitability on average on those. And so you can easily just write that into your contract and say, we'll give you 50% of profitability for year 1 and 25% year 2 through 5. And then you just use the average, a lot of averages on those customers based off the segment of where that customer came from or what they're purchasing, whether it might be based off a product or something along those lines, and pay them out accordingly.
I've seen your spreadsheet. Like you're a bit of a math, like what you just described there is like, you're kind of just brushing it off, but like there's a little bit of a science to it, but once you set it up, you're really just making sure it doesn't break.
Yep.
Sorry, Simon, you were going to say something.
No, I was, I think Zach is raising a great point, because bringing maybe the CEO or the sales leader perspective, and this is something we've discussed offline, but I mean, paying attention to the CAC and to the profitability is I think really, really important. When I was CEO of my previous company, I was often feeling that we were paying commission, paying for the same, right? So we would have landed the deal anyway, regardless of the commission we were paying. So it feels a little bit kind of, okay, I'm paying 20% commission to that specific partner, but I'm not so sure it's smart, because we have also invested, a ton of money in marketing and pre-sales and everything to get that deal over the line. And really, either being able to demonstrate the incremental profitability you're creating on each and every deal because you have a smart commission structure, or being able to prove that these deals are in fact incremental and we would have been able to kind of close them without the support of the partner is to me very, very critical to keep a sustainable commission model. Otherwise, it's a little bit scary, right, for sales leadership, I guess, and for the CFO maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you just said there, so I really want to kind of pause there for a second, because I've been in that position, and I know for a fact at least a dozen other people that I know have been in that position where it's like, here's, where it's a quarter review, monthly review. It's like, here's the revenue we brought in through partners. Here's kind of how we broke it down. Here, the deal size. And you're arguing for like, look, this is got some legs. Like, here's the revenue that we're bringing in. And you get in that pushback of like, well, didn't like John from sales bring that in? Cause like he had, so it's like, I think that was going to go through anyway. And you're like, okay, whatever. Like, what about this one? And you start, you constantly, it's almost like you're guilty until proven innocent. Like they kind of have this like attitude of like, this would have came in anyway. So why are we paying 20% commission? Cause sales is getting a commission too. So now we're losing the, margin. So just as a statement, and then there's two factual, like I'd like to discuss on that. One is like, it's not about the profitability. And we had this conversation offline is like, are you trying to drive ARR for the deals you want? Are you trying to reduce churn? Like, what is your main objective beyond like profit, which is profit in SaaS is like further down the line. Like it's not, you know what I mean? So the pushback you usually get is like, well, this is where it came through and we're already paying commission. Like, so we're losing money on it. I'm like, well, what do you mean losing money? Like, is that the main objective, making money? Cause like, so what's your guys' feelings on like, and Simon, like, I'd like you to answer this first, because like, you've been in the position of that CEO that's literally said that.
Yeah, I was.
So where was your head then? And now that you know the other side, where's your head at now? Like,
I mean, frankly, it hasn't changed. And what we are trying to do is to enable partnership team and to understand how we can help partnership team get there, actually. And that's what this new company was all about. Really, what I'm looking for is two things. One, deals that are incremental, and sales acceleration. How can I get deals to close faster or with a higher win rate? Like that's the two things I'm willing to pay a lot of money for, because simply it accelerates the growth, right, of our top line, of our ARR. And that's a simple view of the world, but that's at the end of the day what I'm looking for. So if someone, whether it's partnership marketing, I frankly don't really care, but is able to demonstrate that each dollar invested in commission or SEO, whatever it may be, increases the win rate by X%, or is accelerating sales cycle by Y%, then great. We can invest, and I think that's what all VC-backed companies, fast-growing, are after, right? Acceleration and getting there faster. So that's kind of how I would try to work, and the framework I would try to apply as a partnership team. Am I able to demonstrate that to leadership? Because if so, I don't see why there would be any limitation on budget and investment on that front.
So yeah, I mean that sounds, of course, that absolutely makes sense, right? It's like if it's same as like hiring a salesperson. It's like, I don't care what you get paid as long as you bring in 5 to 10 times of your salary. Like you can get paid $100 million. I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bring in the 5. So it's the same idea. It's like I don't care what. Like, is it partner that literally took the customer's hand and dragged them over to your office, or is it an SEO, or is it a marketing campaign, or is it a podcast, webcast, whatever that is, as long as it's bringing it in. But like, how are you? And Zach, this could be a question for you, like, because I know you're what call it as a spreadsheet whiz. Like, how are you tracking these? Like, assuming that's what you're looking for. Like, are you laying this out in a spreadsheet? I know you're doing it for your team. So like, how are you tracking who's performing, who's not, whose commission is justified? Where are you spending your time? Like, how are you structuring that?
Yeah, that's there's a lot there.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your spreadsheets.
Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm a spreadsheet junkie when it comes to stuff, and I love looking at the data.
If you want to just explain it to somebody that's like knows what they need to do, and it's like, what's your first step, and like trying to at least like get it together so you can have a meaningful conversation with the CEO.
Yeah. The first thing I would do really in order to justify the commissions to the CEO or the CFO is take a look at sales growth versus partners growth. And what I mean by that is kind of pre-partners and then the sales growth, and then how does that measure up against the growth once partners have been involved too? Because if they're equal, then you shouldn't be paying a partner. If your partnership team is growing because of commission plan, then it's working. Right. And if you have a higher percentage of overall sales or net new revenue is the way I look at it, then that means that your partner program and the commission structure is working. From there, there's a lot. I'm trying to figure out the best way to dumb it down. So I guess using us as an example, we went from 4.5% of overall net new revenue for our company, and now we're at roughly 27%. It's coming from the partnership channel, and it's amazing. My team's amazing. Wow. They're doing a great job, and they've done that by getting buy-in from the CFO on the commission side of it, based off of our growth relative to our organic growth, but then also the LTV, and that's huge. So it really depends on if you have a problem with churn, and you know that partners can maintain customer longer. Each extra month or each extra year that you have that customer is worth its weight in gold, especially if you're not paying commissions to a sales rep still, right? So you can figure out that level of profitability. And then also, if you're paying only out on profitability and not on all revenue, what we do is we bake in our sales team's commissions into our profitability. So it doesn't matter if a sales rep's getting paid on it or not, because we're only paying out on the partner level of profitability there. And so we manage it in spreadsheets. We manage it through Salesforce. We manage it through our PRM. And then I spend a lot of time just kind of jostling the data around to make sure partners are effective.
Yeah. So I agree that, commissions are necessary, but I think what we're trying to convey here is that if you're in SaaS, it's less about profitability, more about either churn or LTV or CAC. Like, there's other metrics that are more important, and usually has something to do with a happy customer. You're not just trying to get them through the door, pay an annual subscription there, it's over. It's like you're trying to hold on to them and make them happy long term, right? So you're trying to reduce churn, trying to increase engagement, all that stuff. So it's like if you can identify that a partner can do that better. So whether it's, like design services, consulting, like some sort of services that are complementary to what your product is, like maybe SEO consultant or something, whatever, going after those partners, coming up with a commission structure that makes it like you kind of work it out to say, look, if this works out, you guys get paid, everybody gets paid, everybody's happy. Great. Now that we have that out of the way, let's look at how we can work together, right? So it's like, we're trying to get this type of customer. We want to hold on to them for at least 3 years. Here's how the revenue and the profit is going to work in those 3 years. Here's how we're going to, on the rev share, here's where you guys are going to get. Okay, great. Now that we have that worked out, and we know that everybody's going to make money if it happens, what can we do to enable you to help us get this customer in that state and get them through those 3 years? That's, I think, where the cream is. Like, it's like, what are the tactics you're using to work with the partner?
100%.
Give them the tools they need to do that. Like, because I mean, it's less about you just like, here's a video of us demoing the product. Like, good luck. Like,
yeah, you're spot on. And a regular commission plan should still encompass the needs of those transactional partners who are never going to be strategic. Not all your partners can be strategic. You don't have bandwidth. You don't have enough alliance managers to manage that. It's hard out there too. That market's horribly hard to find good alliance or partnership people. So if you guys know anyone, feel free to send them my way, because we have 30 openings. So,
we have a job board, you know.
But I think to be strategic, like, again, I think there's more than just the customers that a partner brings you can be strategic with. There's generally a lot of overlap already. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a partner. And having a tool or a way to figure out, hey, here's our current customers, let's match them, or here are our current prospects and match those, is vital in order to make a partnership really strategic and working outside of just a referral over the fence.
Got it. Simon, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, again, I obviously agree, but here is one, not secret, but something we've been doing here at Reveal for the past few months is we have been studying like the average win rates of deals when a partner is present on the deal compared to deals where they are not present. And the secret is at a high level for most of our organization and most of the companies we work with, this is very, very beneficial, right? When you look at the data at the high level, you're like, okay, shit, sorry, pardon my French, the win rate's like 2x higher, right? Literally compared to my average. So, when I'm putting back the CEO or the sales leader hat, I mean, it becomes a no-brainer. But the problem is I've never been, provided with that kind of information first, right? And then comes the discussion that what Zach was talking about. Okay, now I need to identify which account for each and every partner I should engage on, and which discussion should be had. And obviously, it's become more and more of a commodity to get access to that information, whereas in the past it was super, super complex. And I'm not even talking about tools. It's just a question of mindset and openness of the industry. I feel that more and more companies are willing to share information and collaborate with each other and be much more transparent. And that's a deep trend. And I feel very confident that it will impact not only partnership, but entire go-to-market engine for most B2B companies.
I'm just looking at the notes here that we had from last week. And one thing you mentioned, Simon, was this notion of air traffic controller. Now, like so there's definitely room for, like you said, partnership leaders or partnership alliance managers are hard to find. So like, I think, there's a lot of things you can do, but we have to, I'm always very conscious of like kind of giving to people this like amazing strategy, or like, you're not going to be able to implement it with like a 2-3 person team or 1 person team in a lot of respects, especially on the startup side. So I do feel like good half of the membership are these like 1 to 3 person partner teams, and I feel like if it's one, you're really on air traffic control. Like you're really just like diverting from like, no, that partnership is like great, but it's going to suck up my time, so I'm going to say no. Oh no, that's going to go sales because there's not really a touch point here. Like you're really just like diverting traffic to like different departments. So which is less about partnerships, more about air traffic. So I wanted to like kind of unpack that. So what did you mean, air traffic controller? I know it was about building trust with your partners, right? So like, what did you mean by that?
Yeah. So look, I think this is both the greatest opportunity and the greatest threat for partnership team. The greatest opportunity because you have the ability to really connect the dots, to really kind of give information to your sales team, enable your sales team to engage with the other sales team, ask your CEO to talk to the other CEO, bring 2 CMOs or 2 partner companies on a panel discussion, whatever it may be. So you can really kind of create that deep relationship, on all levels. And that's where and when you really unlock the business opportunity, because everybody is kind of contributing to the partnership. Sales rep are engaged directly with the other sales team, for instance, and since the ratio is usually 20-1 from partner manager to partners and 50-1 from sales rep to partner manager, unleashing that power and that staff that you have at hand is really critical. This is also the greatest threat because the more we engage and discuss with partnership team, there is this idea that we need to prove that we are generating commission revenue, or we are bringing in deals and so on and so forth. So I don't necessarily want to enable my sales team to engage with my partner sales team, for instance, because I'm going to lose track of everything. I'm going to lose control. I'm not going to be credited. I'm not going to get my commission because, the sales will probably forget to register the deal in the PRM or whatever it may be. So I'm losing control in general. And since I'm focused on the commission objective, then, obviously I don't want to do that. And I become by de facto some sort of bottleneck for my organization because I'm too focused on generating a small amount of commission dollars, which, whether we like it or not, will never be more than, Zach mentioned 25%. Congrats. But I think the industry standard is much closer to the initial 4 or 5% you had. So in any case, it won't be a significant way to kind of boost your company's business. So what I mean about air traffic controller is you have set, the parameter of the relationship, you have put in place a commission structure with your partner, whatever it may be. But your role, I think, is to enable others to take action on it and to benefit from it. And if you look at your business holistically, and you have a way to prove that every time a partner is involved on deals, then the win rate is 2x higher, then I think you've won. And normally your CEO and your sales leadership should be able to understand that, even if the amount of commission is relatively small.
Man, you nailed it. I don't even know what to say. Zach, you're nodding your head too, so I think you agree. You got it.
Yeah, I think that there's just to kind of wrap that up a little bit. So, and to go back what you said about when you're starting out small, like we did when we started with 2, I think the most important thing in order to be able to grow that is first thing is to agree on what things are, right? What a referral means, what an influence opportunity means. And, so it can't be fought later, right? So we got to agree what the data means. And the next piece is to track the data really hard, right? So if you have buy-in that this is a referral because it fits this criteria and this is influence, it's great to have that, but then you can track what an influence is and how that's still important, even if it wasn't referred. This is why we should pay the partner, because it still has a higher close rate, maybe not as high as a referral, but it's important to just track that data. But the first thing you need to do is have a buy-in and agreement from everyone that this is what the data source means. And then you can look at the data in a number of different ways and find the argument that works best for you to expand that team and grow up more in that partner operational side of it, as opposed to partner managers, which really helps you steamroll and grow quickly.
I'm just going through, that's absolutely great. I'm just going through a couple the Q&A here. There's one, so something interesting about what you said there, right? So if you can define what types of partners and what type of, how they're influencing the deal along that journey, obviously you can influence it yourself. Like, so if it's just a straight referral, soft touch, or it's a strategic deal, it's going to take long. Like, what classifications is it under? I mean, you got to kind of at some point make a decision on, like, it's not going to be 17 of them, it's going to be 2 or 3, or 5 or whatever. Mm-hmm. How are you going to incentivize and spiff out each category? How are you going to track it? Kind of work all that out, and then you kind of you're playing the air traffic controller. But it plays into this question here from Kevin McFarland, which I haven't seen, and it's kind of interesting. I think it has something to do with the fact that, like, I know some companies, they have huge sales cycles, like it takes 6 months to close a deal. So he's asking, how do you incentivize deal acceleration? Have you seen any incentive models that kind of address specifically, given a higher percentage for deals that close under a specific time frame? Or do you give more if it closes within a certain window? And have you seen that? Because I know you guys obviously work with quite a few different vendors. So,
yeah, I think there's a couple different things that hits, and deal acceleration can mean a number of different things. So on the front of it is building pipeline. So generally speaking, I think that's more of a spiff than anything. I generally don't agree with spiffs and the idea of a partner just giving you opportunities to accelerate or to grow pipe, because you generally get less qualified pipeline, and that ruins my value prop when I report on it. But it's really interesting. I think if you kind of tie that influence piece of it back to an opportunity, they can help accelerate it. And what I mean by that is sales has a typical view of partnerships and alliances that all we do is bring referrals to them. If it's a referral, or if it's resell, it's a little bit different. But there's so many times in a direct opportunity where a sales member is working with an end client, where if they can identify who the partners are within inside of that opportunity, we can go backdoor and say, partner ABC, can you help us out and get this deal across the finish line before year end? At that point in time, we can give them influence credit and we can pay them a lesser amount of commissions based off of that. But what we're doing is we're paying that partner to accelerate the deal. Does that, I think that kind of answers Kevin's question.
Yeah. Simon, have you seen anything on that? I mean, it's really hard to push a deal because if it's taken a certain amount of time to close a deal, there's a reason for that. Whether it's like it's a complicated product, there's onboarding, there's some services that need to be in there. Like you can't deploy, say, Salesforce in like a day or a week for that matter. Like, depending on the size so you don't want to push the deal, like faster than it's kind of intended. But I think what you're saying is like, I agree, is like if there's roadblocks that a partner can add and to like kind of punch through. Like I've always done hey, like let's at least tag it as a partner deal. Like even if we're not tracking, like just tag it that a partner has referred this, because if the sale, like even if we're paying say 10% for just a referral, great, but we know we came through a partner. So if the sales rep hits a wall for whatever reason and they see it's a partner lead, it's worth reaching out to partners, say, hey, I'm in the roadblock. Is there something I should know, or is there something you can do? Sometimes it's literally just an email from them. Yeah. And it went from like blocking it for 30 days for whatever reason to like, we're back on track. Mm-hmm. Would you incentivize like at that point, like once they reach to the partner and say, can you help me with this deal? Would you incentivize that?
Look, I've to prep for this webinar, I've done 5 or 6 calls with top partnership organization. Most of them don't, right? The influence in terms of commission structure and incentive is really complicated because the sourcing it's kind of easy, right? They brought the deal was the lead was accepted, then fine. We have a 20% commission if the deal closes. On the influence, it's much trickier, but because there can be plenty of way, a partner or even sometimes several partners, because when you talk about influence, it makes sense also to bring and to have influence coming from different perspectives and different partners. So it's much harder to create a commission model and have no, kind of experience or anything to share on this. That said, on the influence, this is a topic I love because I think this is the new trend we are seeing, especially in the realm of tech partnership, right? Because the relationships are less structured and less transactional. It's much more about kind of helping each other out as much as we can on deals. And to your point before, I would, slightly not disagree, but add something. I definitely think that a deal can almost always be accelerated. So giving you a specific example, you have this partner, they happen to know a C-level exec, or they have a strong relationship with the CFO, who's going to be the one signing the deal, or they have some information about the way they think about security to kind of get through InfoSec or whatever it may be. And this kind of thing can block a deal for weeks or months. And just having the right contact, knowing the right approach, or even understanding the culture of the company in terms of purchasing process, then can really make a huge difference. And I think that's a new trend we're seeing, more and more influence. I feel that there are just very few deals that cannot be influenced. And we were talking earlier on the call about having a strong impact on the top line of your company overall. If you look at sourcing, it can be made 5 to maybe 20%. If you think that you can influence from 60 to 100% of your deals with partners, and it effectively accelerates sales and increase the win rate, then I think you become a cornerstone of the go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
Got it. Here's another question. I'd love to hear each of you guys' answers on this. And I've run into this personally, and I know a lot of people that have as well, especially on the early stage SaaS companies, is, if you do have a partner program and that you're bringing in deals through partners, whatever that is, like usually it's an agency or some sort of service business that's like, we're going to bring your tool on as part of this package that we're selling, right? And they usually come organically. Like you may not even have a partner program, and those deals kind of surface up, and then you're kind of you assign a sales rep or whatever. But say you have a partner team and that comes in. Now, your partner is getting a commission for what they've just brought in. But if in my case, the partner they'll do a demo, but they weren't really they weren't bringing the deal through the finish line. They were just qualifying it and then giving it to us. Then a sales rep's attached to it, and they're actually closing the deal. So the sales rep's getting the commission as well. So now you're paying the partner and the sales rep. My view was like, is it a good deal? Is that the deal that we want? Are those the perfect deals that we want, or the good deals that we want? I didn't care. I was like, pay everybody commission. Like, let's get more of these in the hopper, because it was an acceleration towards like recurring revenue. So, what's your take on commission splits and like Zach? Maybe you can go first. Like between speaking your own partner team, the partner, the sales rep, like everybody's getting a cut. How are you managing that? And what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the one thing I'll come back to is that we base off payments off of profitability to partners, and so that protects us and insulates us from that problem a little bit. But what I think is more important in the justification to C-levels is what the customer cost of, or the cost of customer acquisition really is. And if you take out marketing and you take out the percentage of the sales lift of finding it, you'll 99% of the times find that partner deals have the lowest CAC analysis across all other segments. So it only makes sense to pay a partner for it, especially if you balance that against your LTV and your ACV. So your lifetime value married with your annual contract value. It only makes sense that even if you're losing money year one, but you have a 5-year LTV or a 10-year LTV, you'd be stupid not to, right? You'd be stupid not to overpay in order to get free revenue for year 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. Simon, what do you think?
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I totally agree. And the one thing I would add is, I would never try to, diminish the commission I'm paying my AE, right? So the rep, I think, should be properly compensated. If the rate does the work, close the deal. Yeah, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It should go and help hit quota and be properly commissioned. We see many organizations that are kind of saying, hey, since we are paying 10% to the partner, then you get less commission or less less of the total amount goes into your quota. I think that's really a bad practice because that's harming the relationship between you as a partnership team and the rep, but also more importantly, just the overall feeling. Engaging with partner becomes something you want to avoid as a rep, and this is really something you don't want.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, so we're talking about, say, a really good deal, a deal that you kind of want, whatever that means to your company, right? So you've got a partner attached to it that's brought it in. They have a relationship. Now they have a sales rep that knows the product, that can walk them through it, and you have a CS team that can onboard it. Now you've got 3 touch points, everybody trying to help them at different stages, and everybody has a relationship. The chances of that deal falling through or failing is very low, for one. 2, when it goes through, they've got 3 different touch points of people that can look after them for whatever reason, like whether it's product, it's like whatever it is. So the chance of them leaving is also low, right? So now you've got the deal you want, you've got like somebody holding their hand from like and we're not talking about like an ad on Google, like we're talking about people, right? Like having relationships at early stage, mid stage, and later on kind of look after them. So the chances of them leaving are extremely low. So now you've got the best deal that's going to stay there for the longest period. And what it costs you is an extra 10% or 15% in commission. To me, that was like, I didn't even think of, like, it was like, yeah, absolutely, pay everybody. Like, don't think about like, how can we save 5% on the commission? Because you're not running a restaurant. You're not trying to reduce like food costs. Like it's like, we're trying to get the best deals for the longest duration, right? So I think we're in agreement on that piece of it, right?
But again, it ties back to our discussion on is it incremental or not. I mean, if this is the one big where you were trying to land for the past 5 years, of course it makes sense. You can even pay 50% commission. Probably doesn't matter at this point if that's the big deal that you've been waiting for years. But if you have the exact same situation for most of your deal or the smaller deals, then it goes back to the question on, is it incremental? Am I overpaying and everything? So, that's not necessarily a process or a principle I would apply to 100% of the deal flow, but for sure for the large ones or the ones that are just, incremental and additional revenue, no brainer.
I would actually, I disagree with you there, Simon, for a couple different reasons. First of all, I think you can make up for it by law of averages, right? So we, in our industry nowadays, we have a much larger ACV that's sourced from partners. The second piece is if you start training sales reps not to bring in partners, that's a horrible habit to instill in them. Because if they're making the decision that it's under a certain threshold that they're not going to bring a partner in, maybe the partner knows that there's a much bigger scope of that project that we don't know about and we're missing out on it. So I think that I would much rather overpay on all deals and have a larger amount of deals that I'm overpaying on, which would be fixed by law of averages, than taking it line by line. And that also offers more scrutiny from C-level on down when you start going on deal by deal basis, as opposed to encompassing everything into one bucket.
Okay, I'll buy that. You're right. All debits, they are apparently.
Well, I mean, Simon, you're also like, you've got the CEO hat. Like that's the part that is kind of interesting to this conversation, is because like all the issues with commissions is largely around like, what is the company trying to accomplish? So as a CEO, you're looking at much more than just what's the partner revenue. Like there's other, like what we've been discussing here. So you're looking at it from a different lens, right? Than a partner leader that's like, I'm trying to increase revenue through partners. So you're looking at, there's complexities there, right? But I think we're in agreement on the engagement piece of it and building trust. Now,
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I think, the more we chat, the more I'm thinking, commission shouldn't be seen either as a cost or revenue stream. At the end of the day, it's a tool, right? So, and I think that from the CEO, sometimes it can seem as a cost, as a partnership team, it can seem as a revenue and a way to hit quota, but it's neither of these things, right? It's just a tool to get to the bigger pie, or to get the pie bigger, actually, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so be mindful of the time here. We got about 5 minutes left. My God, what else were we going to talk about? I think, you know what, like what you were saying, Simon, around building trust. Now, I've been in organizations where, you hold your cards super tight and you're kind of just giving peripheral view to the partners on what your company is and what, how you work with clients, and you're giving these like very basic trainings and things like that. And you're setting the tone for like the type of deals you want, right? Which largely go around like not as valuable, right? Because you're, so I think it's like, what's your thought around like that, building that trust piece of it? Like, are we talking like, let's bring him, because it's always been like, oh, let's take what sales is doing, like the thing that they've figured out, and we'll repackage it and we'll give it to the partners so they know how to bring in a deal. We've talked about that. Like, or are you, and you always kind of like, oh, well, we got to take that out. Oh, we got to take this out. We got to like, so you're kind of like filtering it through and watering it down by the time it gets to the partner, which is opposite of creating a relationship and trust and all that stuff. But at the same time, you can't give away, because they might be a partner of your competitor for all you know. Like, so what's your thought around that? Like, I know, and you said this a few times on the trust. Like, what are we talking about when you say build trust and transparency with your partner?
So look, first of all, and there are different kinds of partnership, obviously. So my answer probably won't apply to everything, but the partnership I've put in place and tried to operate in the past. What I really didn't like is when the partner or my team was trying to sell the partner product, or they were trying to sell my product. And I think that it's not so much about providing the partner rep or the partnership, the partner, the tools to sell your product or explain your value prop. It's much more about enabling them to understand when it's interesting to bring you in, right? What's going to be interesting? What's your target persona? what's the type of discussion you want to be involved in, and so on and so forth. And then, they just take a sit back and let you do the work. And, some people might say, hey, they should be doing some work and some part of the sales process to earn commission, because the topic of the day is commission. But I think really the opposite. They are not supposed to sell your product. They don't know how to sell your product. I don't know how to sell yours. So let's do our job and let's keep things very separate. That would be my, my take. In terms of trust, that's how you create the trust, because, at the end of the day, we expect you to bring something very clear that is in your power, and we don't expect the moon from you, like selling something that you don't know how to sell. That's probably never gonna happen. So that's the base. The base of trust should be simplicity and clarity.
Well said, my friend. All right, I think we're at time here. This is good. I mean, honestly, I think we just scratched the surface on it. I don't think it's ever going to disappear. I think it'll probably generate more discussion in the Slack community than answers we provided. But I think at least it will get people together talking about it, right? It's going to be different, right? Like, are you a, $20 a seat company, or you have $400? Like, you're selling to Oracle, like, it's going to be different than if you're selling to, Active Campaign or something like, or Pipedrive or something. So either way, having discussions is important. So thanks a lot for Simon. Thanks a lot for joining me. Zach, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
as well.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Evan.
Both of these gentlemen, both of these gentlemen are in the CSA Slack, so you could just shoot them a message if you wanted to. They're around. But thanks everybody for joining us. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe. This is going up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, if you're not joining us live. And also we have our event, in-person event in April, SaaS Connect Live in San Francisco. So if you haven't bought a ticket, you should. I hope you two are going to be there. I would imagine. I think somebody's sponsoring. I think Tipalti. One of you guys is sponsoring. I can't remember, but you're going to be there.
You're selling me in public.
No, now you have to. No, we're pretty.
Okay. I feel the pressure already. Thanks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're pretty good on that front. So yeah, CSA is a not-for-profit, which can be good and bad. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining us, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.